So what I remember was that when they are now in the battlefield and Sanjay is describing what he's seeing, and in terms of the how the Kauravas and the Pandavas have assembled together, and then Duryodhan, like in all his pride and everything, he says that I have the best warriors with me, everything is the best with me, and
Right,
the
right.
other guys don't stand a chance at all.
Perfect.
And after that, then so still now Krishna hasn't started speaking, yeah, unless I've missed the last lecture. And then once then Arjun is also looking at it and looking at the formation on how the teams have how the both the teams have
Army.
formed their formation and all that, and he's looking into it, and they're also describing who are the strong people in both the teams, in amongst the Kauravas and the Pandavas as well. And they're also describing the not the weapons, but the how they have come in terms of whatever the strength they have individually brought to the whole battlefield.
Perfect. Perfect. And from then onwards, then Arjun expresses his desire to see the warriors of both the armies, and that's why he requests Krishna to take the chariot in between both the armies. Yeah. So excellent, very nice. Anyone wants to add any point? Garima ji, Deepak Prabhu ji,
Yes, Prabhu.
ah, any
No,
point you would
thank
like to
you.
add?
Yeah, Prabhu, I'm just opening my. So probably this chapter it starts with Dharam Kshetre, Kurukshetre.
Correct.
Sanjay Uvacha Dharam Kshetre, Kurukshetre.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Ah,
Dharam Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yudhasava, Mamaka Pandavash, Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So this chapter is observing armies basically. And
yeah,
धृतराष्ट्र जो है वो संजय से पूछता है कि ये जो मेरे पुत्र हैं पांडव और कौरव जो आमने सामने युद्ध के लिए इकट्ठा हुए तो उन्होंने
ah,
क्या किया यहाँ पर फिर इस प्लेटफॉर्म ऑफ दिस बैटलफील्ड अर्जुन जो है अर्जुन कृष्णा को बोलते हैं कि मुझे जो अपना रथ है दोनों सेनाओं के बीच में ले चलो तो मैं देखना चाहता हूँ कि यहाँ कौन कौन युद्ध के लिए इकट्ठा हुए हैं
hmm,
फिर अर्जुन अपना आ, आ, फिर अपना शंख बजाते हैं युद्ध के पहले
hmm,
और यहाँ अर्जुन जो है अपना जो जब अपने सगे संबंधियों पितामह और द्रोणाचार्य और गुरुओं को देख के अर्जुन जो है वो मोह हो जाता है उनको कि मैं कैसे कैसे युद्ध कर पाऊंगा इनके सामने
correct.
और बेसिकली जो अर्जुन जो बोलते हैं कि मेरा बॉडी इज ट्रेम्बलिंग माय माउथ इज गेटिंग ड्राई
Correct.
और माय हेयर्स आर स्टैंडिंग और माय जो बो है इट इज फॉलिंग डाउन
You're right.
सो ही रिक्वेस्ट कृष्णा कि मैं तो आई कैन नॉट फाइट दिस बैटल
Correct.
ही इज इनटू कंफ्यूजन और दुविधा स्टेज में आ जाते हैं अर्जुन
Correct.
तो
और उस दुविधा के लिए उसने अभी तक जो हम लोग ने 40 तक श्लोक किए थे, until that 40 he had presented 4 arguments. Does anyone remember what they are? No problem. So we'll just do a quick recap. I was expecting we'll have a few more people so that they can also understand what we had covered previously, but fine. So this is the opening verse which Dhritarashtra speaks, the only verse that he has spoken in the whole of Bhagavad Gita. So his query to Sanjay is what's happening on the battlefield. So his query comes from two different points. One is he was expecting that the war should happen, and he was thinking that with the people like Bhishma and Dronacharya and Karna kind of people, they will easily win. So he was thinking that if they win, then officially he will become the king, because so far he has always been the representative of king. If you remember the story, when Pandu left for the forest along with his wife, at that time he was not allowed to become the king, and he was throned as the representative of the king. And then Pandu, even after he left also, he was not crowned as the king because he was not suitable to eligible to become a king because he was blind. And neither was Vidur eligible to become the king because he was a Dasi Putra. So that's why he always remained as a representative of a king throughout his life, which was hurting him immensely. So he wanted to be crowned as the actual king, which was only possible if the war happens and they become victorious. So he didn't want the influence of Dharmakshetra Kurukshetra on Duryodhan, because of which he should not feel, okay, fine, let me give back the kingdom to you. On top of that one, he was thinking that Dharmakshetra will have an influence on Yudhishthir because he was a saintly person, and because of which he will say, okay, fine, I don't want to have the war, you take your kingdom. I don't want anything. He was anticipating either of them. That is why he was thinking, did the war actually happen? Will the war happen? Is it happening? This kind of queries he is asking to Sanjay. So it is like we took that example of few friends going into a restaurant, and the another friend who doesn't go with them asks them, what did they eat? What happened over there? So if a person, like say for example, there is a terrorist who has planted a bomb and this friend knows about that, then he would be curious because he is expecting a different result than the normal course of action. That other than eating food, there is a good chance that the some other event will happen. So then Sanjay starts speaking. So we also looked at the different speakers of Bhagavad Gita. Can you name who all have spoken verses in Bhagavad Gita?
Uh, Arjuna,
Yeah,
Krishna, and Sanjay,
correct. And Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra first.
So Duryodhan also speaks, but it is not about Duryodhan Uvach. It is Sanjay narrating his verses. So there is Sanjay Uvach and Sanjay says, what did Duryodhan speak? That's why there is no Duryodhan Uvach in Bhagavad Gita. Now from verses 2 till 6, I believe, Sanjay is describing what Duryodhan speaks to Dronacharya. Okay, so when you are about to fight somebody, you assess their strength. But if the strength of the other army is far more than your expectation, then you become surprised, you become a bit fearful also. And that is the feeling Duryodhan had. So Duryodhan approaches Acharyam Upasangamya. He approaches Dronacharya. Okay, and he starts speaking about the military formation of Pandavas. And then he says, look at the great army that the Pandavas have arranged. And who has arranged it? It is the Tava Shishyena Dhimata, meaning he purposely taunts Dronacharya that it is your disciple who is the son of Drupada Putrena, meaning there is the rivalry or some fight that had happened between Drupad and Dronacharya. And despite knowing that Drupad had performed one sacrifice to get a son who will be able to kill Dronacharya, Dronacharya still teaches military art to Drishtadyumna, who is the son of Drupad. So he is taunting that you have made a mistake by teaching some things like this to him, despite knowing that he is going to kill you. And he is now so expertly arranged the Pandavas' army. And then he starts praising the different warriors in the Pandav camp. So he talks about Yudhan, Virata, Drupada in this verse. In verse 5, he talks about Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashi Raja, and Purjit, Kunti Bhoja, Shaibya, these kind of people. Some of these are well known, some of these are not so well known. So we went into the details about few of them. Then Yudhamanyu is there, Uttamauja is there, Subhadra's son, that is Abhimanyu, is there, and Draupadi's sons are also there. All are Maharathi. We also looked at the difference between Rathi, Atirathi, and Maharathi also, right? Then in the verse number 7, he realizes that it is too much of praise of Pandav camp. It shouldn't feel that the military generals in his camp feel that Duryodhan is fearful. So he starts praising the people on his side. Okay, now I'll tell you about the captains in my team. Okay, then Bhavan, that means yourself, which is Dronacharya, then Bhishma, then Karna, Krupacharya, Ashwathama, Vikarna, Saumadatti. Yeah. So Vikarna was not such a very good warrior, but he is purposely, meaning Duryodhan is purposely taking his name just to make him feel happy. He was definitely not in the class of Karna, Bhishma, or Dronacharya. It is because he was the only person who had raised his voice when Draupadi was being disrobed, and it shouldn't happen that he gives, meaning he doesn't fight on behalf of Duryodhan, and it shouldn't happen that he goes to Pandav camp. That's why, to make him happy, he is speaking that. Then he is using a word Madarthe Tyakta Jivitaha, which in Sanskrit is incorrect grammar, which states that they have already laid down their lives for me, which means he is talking about what's happening in the future, but in a past tense. But what's happening is he is actually speaking the truth. They all are going to die, and he is actually, saying that this has already happened. Then he is comparing the military generals of both of them. He is saying that, Bhima is guarding the Pandav camp, whereas our camp is guarded by Bhishma. And why this comparison? Because Bhima, however strong he is, and Bhishma, how much ever old he is, still in a one-to-one battle, Bhishma could easily defeat Bhim. That was the difference in the strength of both of them. Now, he is giving a kind of a statement to all of those whose name have not been taken, which is his part of his diplomacy, that they shouldn't feel neglected. So he is saying that all of you are very important, not just Bhishma, because Bhishma has become old and you need to guard him. From 12 till 20, we see the various conch shells being blown by various people, and we also see the uh, hints, the indications of the victory of Pandavas. Okay, so one moment. So now, Bhishma, meaning while Duryodhan is speaking, he interrupts him and he blows his conch shell. And because of which Duryodhan became very happy, because it was his long kind of aim for having a war with Pandavas and defeating them, which he now seems that it will get fulfilled. Now, these are the few verses which describe the name of the Shankha and the owner of that, and it talks about various instruments also being blown. So this particular verse says what all different types of uh, instruments were blown, which made a lot of sound. Then this is the entry of Krishna here. So like we saw in a Hindi movie, when the hero enters, the camera starts from the bottom, shows his shoes, then his legs, then the body, and then the face. Here also, Sanjay is describing first the chariot, then the white horses, and then Lord Krishna. Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte. Shweta is white, Hayair is horses, Yukte is yoked to the chariot. And Lord Krishna and Arjuna are entering here. So now first he describes the name of the conch shell which Krishna has, Panchajanya, and Devadatta is the one which Arjun has. And Poundram Dadmau Mahashankham Bhima Karma Vrukodara. Vrukodara meaning one who has a huge amount of eating ability. And Poundram is the name of the Shankha, which is also a very huge in size, similar to Bhim himself, and that is being described here. Then these three verses describe the consuls of Nakul, Sahadev, and Yudhishthir, and various other people also have blown, but their consuls have not named here. Shankhan Dadmo Pruthak Pruthak, meaning various Shankha conchal have been blown by various people. Now, what has happened? Because of those so many conchals being blown, Dharta Rashtran Hrudayani Vedarayat, meaning in the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra, they could feel a lot of trembling. But in the same context, when the Kauravas or even Bhishma blew their conch shell, nothing has been mentioned that Pandavas' hearts were trembled with fear. Now he comes to the point where Arjun has seen all of this and is now about to make a request to Krishna. Okay, that is this particular verse. Now, until this verse, there is one thing that Duryodhan has missed speaking. Anybody can guess what it is? No?
Can you repeat question, please?
See, until this verse, okay, uh, Duryodhan hasn't spoken some particular thing, and even Sanjay has missed it. Okay, meaning I would say Sanjay has technically missed. What did Duryodhan miss? He is describing so many things of the battlefield from both the armies' perspective, but he has missed something. What is it?
Is it that Krishna is with Arjun?
Yes, exactly, exactly. So what did Duryodhan describe? He described the various warriors of Pandav and Kaurav army. And he thought that because Krishna is not going to fight, he is not carrying any weapon, he is useless. And that's why he did not describe him at all. But who turned the tables completely on Kaurav? Only Krishna. He was the only factor because of which uh, Pandavas won. Yeah. People who may not know Krishna as the supreme may debate that because Arjun was a great archer and Bhima was a great Gadadhari, that's why they won it. But we all have seen incidents where only because Krishna arranged various things did did the Pandavas win, right? The killing of Jayadrath. Jayadrath's killing was, had it was a double-edged sword. So had Arjun not been able to kill Jayadrath before sunset, he had taken a vow to self-immolate himself. He would have done that. And Jayadratha had received a boon from his father that whoever kills you, whoever causes the uh, head of Jayadratha to fall on the ground, his own head will also burst into pieces. So Krishna told Arjun to where his father is doing tapasya, and he said you should, meaning throw the arrow in such a manner that the head will fall on his father's lap. And he actually did that. So Jayadratha was also killed before sunset. Arjun was saved. Jayadratha's head fell into his father's lap. His father was the cause of the death of, not the death, of the head falling on the ground. That's why his father died and Arjun again was saved. And there are numerous incidents where Krishna has saved Pandavas and various other people. Yeah. So this is the only factor which Duryodhan ignored, and that caused him the complete war. That cost him the complete war. Now moving on, these verses from 21 till 23, Arjun requests Krishna to draw the chariot in the middle of both the armies. Okay. So Senayoru Bhayor Madhya Ratham Sthapayamechyuta. Please establish, please take the chariot in the in between both the armies. Why? Because I want to see who have come on both the armies to fight, because I may not be able to see them again. That is his reason. And he is saying those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Durbuddhe is the word he uses over there. Okay. Now, what did Krishna do? What did Krishna do? He takes the chariot, right? But he does something which Arjun never expected, and that is one of the factors which causes Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. Any guesses? We did discuss about it.
He took a chariot in front of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. His
Exactly.
elderly and his
Exactly.
Guru. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Prabhu. So Krishna could have actually played smart to say that, okay, let me, because I want Arjun to fight, I want the war to happen, I want people like Duryodhan to be killed. So let me take the chariot in front of Duryodhan, which will generate more anger in Arjun, and he will be more, determined to fight. He could have done that, but he didn't do it. He purposely caused more confusion, more perplexity in Arjun, and for that reason, he took the chariot and took it in front of Bhishma and Drona. And when Arjun saw them, that is when Arjun started, expressing his arguments, his reasons for not wanting to fight the war. Okay. Now these verses 25, 26 and 27. 25 verse number 25 is an indirect verse spoken by Lord Krishna in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the first chapter, you will see 3 out of 4 speakers speaking at least one verse. Dhritarashtra, Sanjay, and Arjun. Krishna has not spoken, but Krishna has indirectly spoken. Uvacha, meaning Krishna, he is saying, Bhishma Drona Pramuktaha Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha. Okay, this is what Krishna speaks. Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. Okay, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. This is what he speaks, but there is no Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. It is indirect narration by Sanjay. Now, these are the two verses which Sanjay describes what is Arjun seeing by being in between both the armies. So, what is he seeing? He is seeing various people who have come to fight for the war, and he is seeing fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, father-in-laws, well-wishers. Why is this important to know? This is the reason why he generates compassion. Yeah. So you will not see a single verse in whole of Bhagavad Gita which is, which has some, irrelevant. You will not find the single verse. And he's saying he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So very important verse, this particular verse, and 2.1, the first verse of second chapter, Sanjay specifically mentions Krupaya, which means compassion. So those people who haven't read Bhagavad Gita, or those people who have misunderstood, or they intend to misrepresent Mahabharat, they say that Arjun was a coward, and that's why he didn't want to fight the war. So this particular verse, Sanjay, who is actually seeing the verse of the war, also Sanjay is not on the camp of Pandavas. So we can assume that if had he been on the camp of Pandavas, he could have taken side of Arjun and brushed up his image. But Sanjay is from the Dhritarashtra's camp, and despite that, he is speaking that he is overwhelmed with compassion, not cowardice. Now this is the verse from where Arjun starts speaking. Okay, Arjun provides 4 reasons in the first chapter that he doesn't want to fight. Anybody remembers what are they? Oh, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Uddhav Prishta, Prabhu. Thank you for joining. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam. Anybody
C
remembers what are those 4 reasons?
CDE, compassion.
Okay, Deepak Prabhuji, you want to speak?
Yes, Prabhuji. One is प्रभु जी ने हिंट तो दे ही दिया, कंपैशन मेंशन
compassion.
ऑलरेडी.
Yeah, correct.
Please, if you can repeat the question. Sorry.
Yeah, compassion is the first one.
The question.
Okay, the question is Arjun presents four arguments in the first chapter from verses 28 till 45, and he says why he doesn't want to fight. So I'm asking, what are those four arguments? Anybody knows it? So Deepak Prabhuji said the first one is compassion. Anybody remembers the um, secondary argument? No. Okay. So let's look at the first one. So Arjun is saying ki after seeing all of these friends and relatives who have lined up to fight, hmm, in front of me, he explains the different symptoms of his body. So first is limbs of the body quivering and mouth drying up. Then he is saying vepathuscha sharire me and roma harshascha jayate, and the fifth one gandivam sramsate hastat tak chaiva parivayate. So another four are mentioned here. The body is trembling, hair standing on hand, and gandivo slipping, and skin is burning. And all of this, he's saying, I cannot stand here. Okay, I only see causes of misfortune. He's saying, why should we fight? What is the benefit? Okay, it is out of compassion that he is speaking all of this. Okay, then now when, let's say you are supposed to perform an action, and that action is not right according to you, you do not want to do it. Yeah, so you feel very compassionate. Let's say you are supposed to kill one animal, for example. Okay, now you are feeling very compassionate. You do not want to kill the animal, but still you are forced to kill the animal. So then if you were to do, you will at least say that there has to be some benefit for me, right? But now Arjun provides the second argument from verses 31 till 35, and he speaks the what is that second argument? Anybody remembers? No, it is loss of enjoyment. So what Arjun is saying, that I am required to do certain thing which I do not want to do, but there is no benefit that I am going to get. There is no enjoyment. If I were to get some enjoyment out of performing a sinful activity, then that will encourage me. Arjun is saying that I do not see any benefit, any enjoyment. On top of that one, I am supposed to do something which I do not want to do. So now he is saying, uh, I cannot see any benefit out of killing my own people. Okay, and I do not desire any kind of happiness also, a victory, kingdom, or some anything like that. And these four verses together, he is saying now, what is the benefit of getting a kingdom or any kind of happiness if the people with whom I will enjoy this one, they themselves do not exist after the war. So even if I get it, whom will I enjoy it with? So he's saying the question is not about killing them or not. Question now gets extended to, are these people going to remain alive? If they do not, then whom will I share my joy with? So when a child comes first in the university, grade 10, grade 12, whatever, what is the first thing he wants to do? He wants to share the joy with others. Let's assume he is in the deepest of Siberia, on the Everest mountain, alone he is, and that time he gets to know that he has a mobile phone. Just for the sake of discussion, he comes to know he has come first in the university. Look at the situation. Whom will he share his joy with? He will have to come down and then tell everybody. Then when they become happy, this guy will also become happy. So that's what he is saying. All of these people whom I can see, they are ready to give up their lives only for us to win the kingdom, whoever is on our side. And I need to kill the other people. Oh, okay, so meaning our guys will be killed, their guys will be killed, nobody will be left after the war. And whom will I share this enjoyment with? And then he is saying, what pleasure will be derived from the killing of the sons of Dhritarashtra? Now, let's extend his arguments further. Okay. So you are forced to kill that animal. You are compassionate, but you are still supposed to do it. You understand that absolutely no enjoyment is going to come. On top of that, when somebody tells you something, which is the third argument of Arjun. Anybody remembers what is that third argument? No, it is the sinful reactions that he will incur. So that means somebody has come to you, he is holding a gun on your head, he is asking you to do something which you do not want to do, then you are not going to get any benefit and you are going to get all the blame, all the sinful reactions to you. What will be the motive, or what will be the encouragement for you to perform that action? Nothing, right? So that is what Arjun is now extending these reasons forward to say that, let alone compassion, let alone enjoyment, lack of enjoyment, I'm going to suffer for sinful reactions. He is saying the sin, personification of sin, will give me shelter. We take shelter from for people who are generally kind to us. So he is saying sin will give me shelter. Okay. At one end, he's saying Atataina, aggressors. Prabhupada mentions six people, six types of aggressors who, even if they are killed, no sin is incurred. So he understands Dharma Shastra, but he doesn't understand Artha Shastra. So he says that they will be killed and I will incur sin, which is not the case. That's why he's saying it is not right for us to kill them because we will not be happy. Okay, so that this is the point about sin, which he extends in the next two verses also. He says that we understand what is right, what is wrong. They may not understand. Their hearts are overtaken by greed. That's why they are performing activities which they are not supposed to. But we understand well. I do not want to perform what I know is not right. They may not understand right or wrong. Let them perform, but I don't want to do it. Okay, now from verse number 39 till, technically speaking, 43, but verses 44 and 45 are also related to this one. That's why we can say 39 to 45 is the presentation of his fourth argument. So here he talks about saying that, fine, I don't mind performing an action, although I do not want to do. I don't mind doing it even if I don't get enjoyment. I don't mind doing it even if I'm going to incur sins. But look at the long-term impact of my actions. This is only going to cause kulakshaya pranashyanti, meaning the destruction of dynasty will happen. And what will cause? Kula dharma sanatanaha. The pranashyanti, meaning will impact the kula dharma. And because of kula dharma being lost, okay, adharma, meaning irreligion, will prevail. Meaning everywhere people will become irreligious. Irreligion will cause what? When irreligion becomes prominent, women of the family will become polluted, and from degradation of womanhood, unwanted progeny will come. Unwanted, not in terms of a child being born before marriage, meaning parents do not want it, but unwanted meaning they are not beneficial to the society. They in fact are, they cause harm to the society. And something like this, when it happens, increase of unwanted population, when it happens, it causes hellish life for both the family as well as those who destroy the family tradition. Look at his arguments, look at the depth of his arguments. No ordinary person would be able to defeat such kind of arguments. The ancestors of such corrupt families will fall down because two things will happen: Lupta, Pinda, and Udaka Kriya. Pinda is the rice balls that we offer to our ancestors when we perform Shraddha, and Udaka is water. So, offering of food and water to the ancestors will stop, and that will cause the ancestors also to fall down down from wherever they are. So this action, he is saying, is not going to just impact the people who are on the earth. It will also impact those people who have died and gone to various planets. What will happen because of that? So when such kind of evil deeds are performed by those who destroy family tradition, and who is he referring to? Himself. It gives rise to unwanted children, and so obviously when unwanted children are born, all community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. And not a far different situation that we can see in India today. Okay. Now look at the way they address each other, right? We spoke about this quite a few times in various classes. So Krishna and Arjun, they address each other by various names, and these names are, they have their own meanings, and they are context driven names. Okay, so at one end he says, oh Janardhan, in this verse he's saying, oh Janardhan, at meaning Janardhan meaning somebody who maintains the people. Now he is saying, oh, you are the maintainer of the people, and you want me to fight the war which is going to cause destruction of the people on earth as well as people on various planets. So he is saying that I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed, they always dwell in hell. Narake niyatam vaso. Niyat is constantly, vaso is to dwell, narak is the hell. So firstly, okay, Arjun is not ordinary in terms of his knowledge. He understands hell, heaven, and other planets also. He is he is using a word which is actually incorrect, niyata, meaning, why we should understand this verse in great detail, because as you as parents, let's say when your child makes a mistake, let's say the child is in grade 1, and he, let's say just for the example, he steals something of some other child. So what will you do when you come to know about it in the evening? You will tell him not to do, yeah? Or you might give him some punishment, or you might even give a slap as well, right? Will you give the same slap to him on the next day? Why? Because on the previous day he stole something. You may not. Will you do the same thing again next day, next week, next month, next year, 5 years, 10 years later? You will not, right? Because he did a mistake once and you have punished him once. So the um, equation is balancing well. So if you as a parent, as a normal, ordinary human being can understand that the quantity of mistake performed is proportionate to the quantity of punishment given, do you think that God will not understand that? So if you make a mistake here on earth, okay, why will God let you remain in hell eternally? That's not possible, right? So there are certain people, some from different religions, who say that this is the only life that you have. Okay. So what happens to people who perform sins? They go and rot in hell. For how long? Eternally. Now you can apply logic and then cross out their arguments that it is not possible to rot in hell eternally for a mistake that is quantifiably performed. Yeah, similar proportion of mistake or similar proportion of punishment is given, and then the person should be able to come out. It's logical. So that theory defeats even the single birth theory also. But when Arjun says here, Arjun is saying that the duration of the punishment is so long is because the magnitude of sin performed is so high, the duration of the punishment is so long that it will seem like eternal. Now, oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Actually, we completed until verses 40 only, right? Previously. I should have actually gone into more details in from 41 onwards. Okay. Shall we do 41, 42, 43, maybe 15 verses, 15 minutes are there.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just completely forgot. Okay, let's take verse number 41. Sankaro narakayaiva You can unmute
Sankaro
yourself.
Narkayaiva
Kulagnanam kulasya cha
Kula
Kuladhanyanam
Dhananam Kulasya
kulasya
cha
cha
patanti pitaro yesham
Patanti
tanti
Pitrohi
pitaro vesham
Esham
luptapindodaka kriyaha
Lupta
lupta
Pindodaka Kriyaha
pindodaka kriyaha
sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro yesham luptapindodaka kriyaha. Can someone read the translation?
Yes, Prabhu. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestor of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So Arjun is now continuing his argument, the fourth argument, right? What was the fourth argument? Destruction of family traditions, which started from verse number 39. Okay, so he is saying that if Kshatriyas are killed, okay, dynasty will be destroyed. Kulakshaye pranashanti. And he is also saying that will cause destruction of family traditions. Kula dharma, sanatana, the pranashanti will happen. Pranashanti kula dharma. That will cause the whole dynasty to transform into irreligion. Okay, kulam krutslam adharma bhi abhibhavati uta. Now he also stated in the next verse that if adharma increases, okay, pradushyanti kulastriya, which means women will become polluted, and that will cause varna sankar, jayate varna sankar, which will cause unwanted progeny to come into being, which also highlights how much a woman imparts her culture to the child. So if a child is doing very well, the whole credit goes to the mother. Yeah. So that is why, meaning whenever you see a well-behaved child, the parents of the child are always appreciated, and within that also the mother is appreciated more. So he's saying Sankaro Narakayaiva, meaning now he's taking that argument further. What will happen? Sankaro Narakayaiva, meaning Sankara, meaning the destruction will cause Narakaya, meaning you will go and reside in hell, and meaning sorry, they will make the life Eva, meaning they will make the life like hell. It will be hellish. And for whom? Kulagnanam. Ghna is the killing. Kulagnanam meaning those who kill the the family or the dynasty. And what will happen? One more action will happen. Patanti pitaro hesham lupta pindo dakakriya. So Patanti is to fall down, Pitar is ancestors, and they will fall down because lupta pindo dakakriya, as we talked about, offering of food and water to the ancestors will stop, and that will cause the fall down. So it also underlines one important aspect, that even if you perform certain sinful activities, if you have brought up your children in nice culture, then they will be able to offer food and water to you. What will that happen? What will that do? So let's say you have performed certain activity which requires you to remain in, let's say for example, hell for, say for example, 10,000 years. But by offering this on a regular basis, the punishment duration reduces and the person is freed from hell um, earlier. So that is the kind of benefit that our culture gives you, that it does not put you in a shell of just one single life. Even if you make a mistake, there is always a chance for some kind of resurrection. You will be able to come out. So that's why the message of Bhagavad Gita is completely positive. It says, draw a line now. This was your past life and this is your future life. You are at this point of time. Anything that you have done does not matter. I will take care of it, Krishna says. Just do as I say from now onwards. So even if you have made some mistakes, your ancestors, or sorry, your descendants can perform activities which can help you come out of hellish life. And that also defeats the argument of eternal damnation which is professed by certain religions. Okay, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, the 28th chapter, um, uh, I think that is the last chapter of the canto, there are 28 different types of hell that are described. So what mistake if you commit or sin that you commit will cause you what kind of punishment, and in which hell you will go and suffer for that punishment for how long. So the description of the hell is there, description of the sin is there, description of the punishment is also there. So Prabhupada mentions one important verse here in the chapter. So it is whatever is mentioned here, meaning Lupta Pindo Taka Kriya, this is applicable for people who are living an ordinary life, karma kandi life, which we will understand in the 2nd chapter when we go. But he says that those who are pure devotees of the Lord, they do not need to do all of this. And let's read the translation of this one. So he's saying anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, that is Krishna. Mukunda means giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation. Yeah, these are all obligations. We have something called as a debt. The ancestors give a debt to us, the children, the society, the country, various people, we owe something to them. And he has taken the path to all seriousness, which means the path of Krishna consciousness. Such a person owes neither duties nor obligations to whom all? Demigods, that is the Devta, the Rishi Muni, that is the sages, general living entities, any kind of, other living entities, family members, human kind of forefathers. So he is saying such kind of obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of bhakti, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. A very important point to understand. Based on this only, Prahlad Maharaj was able to get mukti for 21 of his previous generations. That is what Narsimha Dev told him, that 21 of your previous generations have already received mukti just because you are a pure devotee of myself. Please feel free to let me know in case you need more clarification or have any question. Shall we move on to verse number 42? Any question?
Yes, Prabhu, move on.
Okay, fine, thank you. So text 42. Doshai rete kuladhanam varna sankara karakaihi. Oh, I'm sorry. You're supposed to chant together, sorry. Doshai rete kuladhanam
Dosher ete kula dhananam
varna sankara karakaihi
varna sankara karakyahi
utsadyante jati dharmaha
उत्साद्यन्ते चापि धर्मः
कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः
कुलधर्मश्च शाश्वतः
दोषैरेतैकुलघ्नानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्मः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः. Translation, anybody?
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
Thank you. So again, he continues describing his 4th argument. He is saying religious principles will be devastated, dharma, if he fights and kills these people, which will lead to the destruction of dynasty. So his underlying signal is basically that he should avoid fighting. Hmm. So now we should understand what are community projects. So whenever you undertake some project for the society, let's say certain building a temple or building a dharamshala or giving food to people, and if there are certain people who are not able to earn properly, then assisting them in some or the other manner. The brahmanas are generally they live on the donation given by other people. So taking care of them, taking care of people who are disabled or elderly people or children or something like that. All of these activities which is oriented towards the welfare of the society or a certain family, these will get destroyed. Why? Because the mentality of the people who will be administering the kingdom, that mentality will be oriented only towards sinful life. And that is what he is saying, that when the Varna Sankar happens, when the women get polluted, the culture provided to the children will be lost, and such children will then tomorrow become rulers, and they will cause destruction of the society also. That is why he is saying that I should not fight and I should not kill people. Now when we use the word dharma, dharma means it is not religion the way it is applicable today. Yeah, it is not Hindu, Muslim, Christian. Okay, these are man-made religions. A person is born, he is a proper soul, he takes a body, he gives up the body, he takes another body. So today I may be a Hindu, but if I die tomorrow and if I become a dog tomorrow in the next life, am I Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian? No. Dog, we don't differentiate dogs and cats and other animals in man-made religions, right? But still the soul is there. So dharma is from perspective of two things. One is varna and ashram, and the second is at the level of the soul. So Varna is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Ashram is Brahmacharya, Grihastha Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyasa ashram. So there are certain things that a certain person can do and certain things he cannot do. So there are permissions granted for various reasons. A Kshatriya can fight a war, but a Shudra may not be able to because he has not received the proper training. Yeah, or a Brahman can do a puja, but a Vaishya cannot do a puja because he doesn't have the necessary training in terms of doing puja also. So what a Brahman can do, a Vaishya cannot do. What a Vaishya can do in terms of business and various activities, economic activities, a Brahman cannot do. So these activities are meaning what they can do and what they cannot do has been specified in various scriptures, and the main purpose of specifying this one is to regulate the life towards spiritual consciousness. And we will it's a too deep a topic, but just to give an idea, um, in the third canto, in the 28th chapter, Kapil Muni, Lord Kapil, who is the avatar of Vishnu, he is giving instructions to his own mother, Devahuti. Within that, he has done the gradation of living entities, starting from immovable entities to movable, who have thousands of legs, then four legs, then two legs, and that way he goes on upwards, and he has given that. So that way, when we understand that gradation, then we will be able to appreciate why this whole thing, the Varnashram Dharma, has been created accordingly, because it elevates you one step at a time towards rising spiritually, so that you are able to get out of this cycle of birth and death completely. This is at the level of the body. At the level of the soul, the only dharma we have is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has mentioned, Jivera Swarupa hai Nityara Krishna Das. We are eternal servants of Krishna, and our only activity is to serve Krishna. That is at the level of the soul. So it's too deep a topic. Again, I'm not going into details now in this one, but the characteristic or the dharma differs depending on whether you are viewing it at the level of the body or at the level of the soul. Okay. Okay. Shall we do just one more verse that will finish off Arjuna's arguments, and in the next class we will do 44 to 46 then.
Yes.
So verse number 43. Utsanna kuladharmanam
सनकुलधर्माणां
manusyanam janardana
Manushyana
मनुष्याणां च
Janardana
narake niyatam vaso
नरके
Nrike
नियतं
Niyatam
वासो
Vaso
भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा.
भगवद्गीता शुश्रूषः.
Translation.
Translation. Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai
O
Shri.
Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Thank you, Prabhu. So now what is he doing? He is reaching to that conclusion why he should not fight the war. Why? Because the consequences would be that he and in also those who are responsible for this, he will have to suffer in hell forever. So what is he highlighting here, Krishna? That I may be able to win the war. I may be able to win the kingdom. But once I give up this body, I will be suffering in hell forever. Okay. Now we need to understand this in the right perspective. We should understand that performing an incorrect action is not supposed to be done, but not performing an correct action is also supposed to be avoided. And we took an example of a policeman, right, last time. If a policeman is seeing that one woman is being troubled by another person, that woman is unable to defend himself, it is the duty of the policeman to intervene and stop that and protect the woman. But if he sits on a chair watching this nicely and saying, I am not the one who caused them to fight, why should I go and solve this problem? Okay. So then he is supposed to do that. That is his duty. When he doesn't do that, he is liable for action. And that is precisely what is happening here. And with these grounds, Krishna will explain him that he has to fight because he is a Kshatriya. Okay, he is not supposed to fight based on whether he will win or not. He is not supposed to fight whether this will cause destruction or not. He has to fight because as a Kshatriya, he is supposed to protect his people. He is supposed to do that. And Krishna will address from various different perspectives. The Karma Kanda level talks about this one, which is from verses 2.31 till 37. We also talked about Narake Niyatam Vasu. We already spoke about it, so I'll not go into it. Just to but recap what we spoke. It is impossible to rot in hell forever for a punishment, for a sin which is committed and quantifiably committed. Right? It is not possible. If I perform a sin of 100 units, I get a punishment of billions and trillions and zillions of units. So this is a kind of a incorrect concept which is now prevailing in the society, that is called as YOLO, YOLO. You only live once. Yeah. So what they are saying, enjoy, maja karo. If you live only once, but they are not able to give answers as to why are people suffering then. If your objective is to enjoy, that only live once is applicable to each and every living entity. Why only you? So why are other people suffering? Why are you able to enjoy? Why is it that some people are born beautiful, some people are born not so beautiful? Why is it that some people are born handicapped? Why is it that some people die early? Some children die in the stomach, in the womb of the mother itself, even before they are born? Why does it happen? So until they understand the soul, they cannot understand that there is rebirth. Until they understand that there is karma, they cannot understand that there is rebirth. Until they understand rebirth, they cannot understand the why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people, and how do we get out of this cycle of birth and death. We talked about Krishna being addressed as Janardhan also, and I think that's all in this particular verse. So we can stop here, and we will do the remaining three verses in the next class. And since we have already summarized the whole chapter, again I will not summarize it in the next class. Any question? Anybody? Any comments? Last time Garimaji said we should revise what all we have discussed in the class. Garimaji, do you want to just speak out a few points what we can take back from the class?
Yeah, what I took back from the class is the point when Krishna purposely brings or makes Arjun bring in the center of the dharam
Done.
yudh, and especially in front of his teachers or Bhishma Pitama, where kind of his weak points,
Correct.
So that's purposely done by the God. I feel that is like a like when God has to make you shine or has to make you do something which is out of your normal, ordinary capacity or what you feel is your capacity. It may have to make you do something beyond your capacity. Then He makes you first the weakest so that you can shine the most.
Very
So
nice.
exactly that was done by Krishna that time. It's like the darkest hour of the night, because it's really near the sunrise. So whenever in our businesses or even if when we are struggling, we feel the time when we feel like we are really failing, that's the time when God is testing us the most, because now
Hmm.
after soon He's going to give us, okay, go win it, or challenge yourself, and then kind of that kind of a thing. That's
Hmm.
why Krishna got him. Another thing which I mean, maybe it'll just come in the next chapter or something. What essence I'm getting is that when Arjun is constantly telling that about his learnings, that he shouldn't kill, or he shouldn't be fighting, because they are my teachers, they are my elders, and the mothers will not be able to give birth to good children and all that. So that is all like uh, it's all like learnings, right? हम सबकी जो learnings होती हैं, जिसको हम बोलते हैं हमने पढ़ाई करी या हमने इधर उधर से सीखा. So God, what I feel is when He has to sorry, excuse me, when God has to make you, God is preparing you to do something beyond the expectation. He makes you unlearn the learning. So these are the learnings which Arjun is reflecting, while the time is going to come when Krishna is going to say, now you unlearn whatever you have been taught in this whole world,
Hmm.
and now you do it like this. It's like, मेरे को यही समझ में आया. It's like he will make him unlearn his learnings. ये चीज ऐसे होती है. हम अगर कुछ हमसे अगर भगवान कुछ कराना चाहते हैं, तो हम बोलेंगे कि इसमें तो ऐसे होता है, इसका मतलब तो ऐसे होता है. द लिमिटेड आई विजन वाला जो चीज है, जो हमने सीखा हम वो बोल रहे हैं. सिमिलरली अर्जुन भी वो बोल रहे हैं. और जब कृष्ण जी की बारी आएगी तो कृष्ण जी बोलेंगे, अभी जो कुछ तुमने अभी तक सीखा उसको अनलर्न करो और इस तरीके से करके देखो.
Correct.
That's what the learning I feel is from that
नाइस
point.
नाइस वेरी नाइस. एक उसमें जस्ट मैं पॉइंट आपको थोड़ा मॉडिफाई करना चाहूंगा. व्हेन यू सेड दैट गॉड मेक्स यू वीक, तो इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट गॉड मेक्स यू वीक करके. गॉड बेसिकली मेक वांट्स अस टू सरेंडर टू हिम. तो
Yeah,
उसमें अगर हाँ,
yeah.
तो उसमें क्या होता है कि some people, despite becoming weak in terms of their determination, in terms of their strength or whatever it is, their ego is so high that they will still not surrender to the Lord. So it is not always necessary that a weak person will surrender to the Lord. Sometimes even strong people also, like Prabhupada. Prabhupada was mentally so strong. At the age of 69, he was determined to go to US at the age of 69 and preach Krishna consciousness with just 40 rupees in his pocket, which was equivalent to $5 at that time. And he established it. So, but mentally he was very strong.
I think
So
what I
Krishna,
meant to say was that God brings in the toughest situation in front of you.
yeah, correct. And then he
You're
expects us
right,
to
not
surrender.
yeah. Then we
Correct.
surrender the graceful surrender, or what we
Yes,
call,
exactly. Very nice, very nice. Anybody, anyone else wants to share any learning? नहीं? मंजू, दीपक प्रभु जी, मंजू माता जी.
महेश प्रभु ने हैंड रेज किया प्रभु जी.
हाँ प्रभु जी, दीपक, सॉरी, उद्धव कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्लीज. थैंक यू सो मच.
Hare Krishna. A very nice class and very nice flow. And Mataji, what she mentioned in the realization is really wonderful. It's a time, this reminds me of that incident when Draupadi was disrobed.
Mm.
So when she is taking one hand up and asking for the mercy, nothing happens. Lord never comes there. When she takes both the hands and she says, "Now I'm totally surrendered," at that time, Lord intervenes and takes care of this. So basically, the thing is that you have to surrender to that level. Everything is now in your hands. I'm just a puppet in your hand now. So when that kind of surrender comes, which is very rare, because of the strong ego that we have been, bringing with us from not years but from ages, from births after births. So that ego is strong enough, and to smash that ego, it's very difficult. But the time comes and Lord is there, nothing is impossible for him. So he definitely takes care of and puts you in such a situation where you definitely come in that in that time frame that you have to raise both your hands and say, now it's only you who can take care of me. So very nice thing which has been shared by Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Great. So thank you all for joining. Manju Mataji, Deepak Prabhuji, if you have anything to share, otherwise we can end the class here.
Nothing
Yeah,
from my end.
thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, great, great. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
We'll
Krishna.
meet in the next week.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You were not feeling well, still you took the class. Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare